Hello, I'm going to talk to you about the Beatles. The Beatles were one of the most successful groups in pop history. They became popular during the 1960s. Many people believe they were the most influential band of the 20th century. As you can see in the photo, there were 4 people in the Beatles. All of them were born in Liverpool, a port city in the northwest of England. You can see Liverpool on a map here. In the group photo, going from left to right, George Harrison, born February 25th, 1943, died November 30th, 2001 in Los Angeles. John Lennon, born October 9th, 1940, died December 8th, 1980, New York. The 2 Beatles still alive are Ringo Starr, born July 7th, 1940, and Paul McCartney, born June 18th, 1942. In 1957, John Lennon met Paul McCartney, and they began writing songs together. Later, they formed the Beatles, together with Paul's school friend George Harrison. Their drummer then was Pete Best, but they fired him in 1962 and hired Ringo Starr. With Ringo, the Beatles composed and recorded many big hits. Their debut single, Love Me Do, came out at the end of 1962 and it went to number 17 in the UK charts. They began to have number 1 song after number 1 song. On the right, you can see how the Beatles' first 5 singles sold in the UK and how quickly they became very popular. They became popular in the UK not only because of their music, but also because of their fashion and charisma. The newspapers wrote about Beatlemania, the craziness of Beatles fans. You can see a picture of these fans on the left, just here. In February 1963, the Beatles appeared on UK television to promote their new single, Please Please Me. A TV audience of 6 million watched them, and the song soon topped in the UK charts. From this point, the Beatles became more and more famous, and they became a household name in the UK. In November of the same year, I Want to Hold Your Hand became a number 1 hit in America, and the Beatles' fame spread outside the UK. American teens loved them for their long hair, sleeveless suits, and Beatle boots. In 1964, when they appeared on an American television show, The Ed Sullivan Show, it got the biggest audience in American television history to that date. The photo on the left shows their names on a sign outside the television studio in New York. They became so popular that in April that year, they held the first 5 places in the American music charts. And when they played in Canada the same year, they had 9 records hen. The Beatles became so famous that they made their hometown Liverpool the pop capital of the world. One of my favourite songs is Penny Lane, about a street in Liverpool. You can see a picture on the road sign here. The Beatles' beat boom spread very fast across the world. The Beatles are popular with English learners too, as their songs are often easy to understand as well as being great music. Unfortunately, the Beatles broke up in 1970. Perhaps the most famous Beatle at the time was John Lennon. He became famous as a peace activist after the Beatles broke up, and he composed many great songs after going solo. One of his most famous songs is Imagine. He wrote the lyrics of this song on the back of a hotel bill while he was on an aeroplane. Imagine was recorded in 1971, but was not released as a single. In 1980, John Lennon was shot dead outside his home in New York by an obsessed fan. He was 40. After his death, Imagine was released as a single, and it became a #1 record around the world. In Japan, John Lennon is famous as the husband of the Japanese artist Yoko Ono. You can see a photo of them at the bottom right, holding a peace protest in a hotel in Amsterdam. Thank you for listening.